Hey guys, it's Parzival. I also go by Will, and I am back with another speed paint. The topic of the speed paint is going to be pretty simple. I figured I'd just make a video about it because I don't know if there really are any videos about it. I know there's videos about like commissions and stuff, but I haven't really seen any about art trades and like stuff that happens with that. And so I figured I would talk about it for a little bit. The image in the back is also a speed paint of an art trade. This is Isao, at least I think I'm pronouncing that right. It could be Isao. And that is a character who belongs to Tyler on DeviantArt. That's Tieler. Tyler. And I had a lot of fun with this art trade, even though I sort of screwed up and drew the first sketch on the wrong layer, as you can tell right now, because I was erasing and recopying and whoopsie daisy. But, you know, it turned out fine. I fixed it. I fixed it and I salvaged my sketch, so it was fine. But, yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about art trades because, yeah, I don't see many videos about it, and I feel like maybe people should, like, talk about it a little bit, because I feel like a lot of it could be considered, oh, well, that's common sense for an art trade, but yeah, maybe someone is new to art trades and doesn't really know what they are or what the etiquette is for that and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm going to go into what art trades are and the basic etiquette of an art trade. So, you know, what's polite and what not to do. So, to start, an art trade is kind of like a commission, but not really. Instead of someone paying you money to draw their character, you draw each other's characters. It's also sort of like fan art in that way, because you're drawing a character that doesn't belong to you for someone else, but you are getting something in return. That something is not monetary, but it is art of your character. So, you are trading art. You are drawing something for someone in return for them drawing you something. And for me, I like this because I like drawing characters that I haven't really gotten the chance to do so. It's a great thing to do among friends, and I highly recommend starting out with friends instead of starting out with strangers. But, you know, it's a great way to show appreciation for the characters, and it's fun to draw characters that you wouldn't normally draw because of that. For example, with this speed paint that I'm doing here with Isao, I wouldn't normally draw characters with animal ears, and I'm not really used to that, especially the big ones that he has. But I had a lot of fun with this. I enjoyed how it turned out, and I liked trying to figure out shapes and learning more about how I'm able to draw this sort of character. Because none of my friends really have characters like this. This isn't something that really happens in our circles. But yeah, so that is what an art trade is. There is a variation on an art trade called an art payment. Now, I still consider this an art trade of sorts, but basically it's when you are drawing something in exchange for something else that is not art of your character. So this could be like an adoptable sometimes, and that's called an art payment because you are paying with art of someone's character. You are drawing something for someone in exchange for receiving the character. Or, honestly, I haven't really seen art payments done anywhere besides like adoptable stuff and like outfit designs. But I guess it like if someone is like selling an outfit or a weapon design or something, that could also count, or your character here. But it's still basically an art trade or an art payment, at least in my eyes. If you have a different opinion, feel free to leave that down in the comments, and we can talk about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. So that's what an art trade is. You're basically drawing something for someone else in return for them drawing you something. So now that I've got this basic definition down, I'm going to talk about basic art trade etiquette. Now, this isn't universal. This is just personally for me what I have experienced and what does and doesn't bother me. So if this is something that doesn't bother you when it comes to receiving art, then, feel free to talk to me about it. I'd love to hear your opinions as well, and I'd love to hear your reasonings behind it. It would be really interesting to have that conversation. But from what I can understand, basic art trade etiquette is, first of all, it's generally polite when you are doing art trades to tell people um, that, like, what you want up front. So, do you want from them a half body, and what are you providing? Oftentimes, people want what they are going to be getting. So, if you want a half body, it like for of your OC, people want you to draw a half body in return. And that's sort of like, so it's an equal exchange thing, but it's not necessarily always like that. I have a friend of mine who prefers to trade his full bodies for my half bodies because he's not super confident in his art skills, and he would prefer and feel more comfortable personally if I drew him a half body for the full bodies that he draws. And that's his personal preference. So I personally prefer that regardless of art experience, I would like to give whatever I'm receiving. So if I'm receiving a full body, I would like to give a full body, because I don't personally think that if you're like trading art, that art skill should be a factor in, like, I mean, it is for some people, but for me personally, art skill isn't something that I judge on when it comes to art trades, because I'm not paying for this. I am putting my time and effort into it, but I'm not paying it for it. I am doing something I enjoy for someone and getting something in return. Another thing to keep in mind for art trade etiquette is, like, a lot of people find it sort of frustrating, or at least in my experience. Again, this is all based on my experience, but I found that people find it frustrating if you give them a character that's very, very complicated, and they had given you a character that's very simple. Because that means that if your character's super complicated, they have to draw all those details, while you might just need to draw a face with a very simple, straight hairstyle. And that's not really fair. It is still a headshot, but if someone has to put all that detail and time into all the smaller details, then it can be a little bit more frustrating, because they're trying to do all those details while you just have to block in a few shapes or do some lines, and that's sort of uneven as well. So it's preferred, as far as I can understand, to give someone a design that's a similar complexity to the design that you're asking for. And that's just for equal exchange purposes. A third thing that I've learned is, if someone is doing an art trade for you, it is not any less important than a commission. Of course, commissions give you money, but someone is still doing something for you, and it is still an exchange of, like, services. So, okay, maybe it's a little bit more, like, I can definitely understand why people are putting commissions ahead of art trade, because commissions get them money. But my point here is that if someone finishes their half of the art trade in, like, a week, and you don't finish yours for 2 months, that's not really fair either, because they're waiting 2 months for something that they have technically already, quote-unquote, paid you for by finishing their half. So, communication, telling them how far you are in things, stuff like that, that's generally pretty important when it comes to, like, art trades and stuff, and finishing them in a timely manner. Now, not everyone cares about this as much as, like, I do, but I'll admit, I think I'm a pretty patient person. Even I get a little bit frustrated when, I have finished my half of the art trade, and I have to wait, like, 6 months for the other half. Now, mind you, I have waited 2 years for an art trade before. I did end up getting it, and I love it very much, but the person I was talking to was communicating with me the entire time, and also they were my baby sibling, so, like, that doesn't really count. And, it's just a thing that communication is very important. tell someone how far you are, tell someone if you need more time, stuff like that. And as a result, as a rule of thumb, for me at least, if I'm not the one initiating the trade, or if I haven't traded with someone before, I don't finish my half until I get my payment. Because I know that I can finish fast, and at least for me, I have a gallery and a folder full of all the art trades I've finished, and I have established that I can finish my half in a timely manner. So I have that to show for that. So I want people to finish their halves first. But, like, again, that's just me. And I think, like, those are some basic etiquette things that might not be super obvious for people because they might not necessarily be used to art trades or used to, drawing things for payment, because it's very appealing since you don't need actual physical cash or a PayPal or DeviantArt points or whatever new cryptocurrency is out there to get art of your OCs. So, drawing something in return seems really, really appealing, but also don't overestimate your limits, because if you can't finish on time, or if you have a design that's too complicated and you don't want to do it, like, it's also just not fair. But yeah, I think that's about it for this video. I just want to talk about art trades a little bit and have a video out there so that people can know a little bit more about art trades and what that sort of is and what it means. And hopefully this helped a little bit. I'm not sure, but if you have any comments or anything about art trades that you want to talk about, feel free to put them in the comments. I'd love to have this sort of discussion with you guys. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I will let the outro roll. See you! Well, that's the end of this video. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section, or contact me on any of my social media, which is linked in the description below. I also have my Patreon there if you guys want to throw a monthly donation at me. Thanks so much for your support. I'll see you next time. Bye!